joined by Animo, who looks destiny in the face.
Speaking of, what's that on your melon?
Mate, how good's this? Shout out to my wife.
Shit.
Gigi.
I don't think I've ever heard you say that.
Your wife. My wife. Yeah, I'm a married man, Drifters. A lot's changed since we started this podcast. I'm married. You're engaged.
Homeowner.
I thought you were going to say something else when you first said HOM. Yeah, homeowner. What else has been going on? We've bought horses. We're sponsored by the good people at Ned's. Animo's come and gone.
Yeah, true.
He's come and gone. So, yeah, Drifters, if you're watching on the tube, you know what I've got on me noggin. If you're listening on wherever you listen to your podcast, I'm wearing an Animo hat on my head from Dali. So it's actually good quality. It's like the 47 brand.
Yeah. Yep. I love 47 brand.
Yeah.
I love dad cap.
Yeah, dad caps, mate. That's where it's at.
Yeah.
How are you going, mate? A little soiree across the Dutch to Queenstown.
Mate, it was good. That was a horrific NZ accent, by the way.
Oh, mate, give me a chance.
No, it was good, mate. It was exactly what the doctor ordered. Fit a lot in the 5 days there, and we weren't really there to do all the touristy stuff, but we did a lot of it anyway. So, we went to, I forget the name of it now. It's already exited my mind, but you know, there's the biggest bungee there. We were talking about bungees last week.
Yeah, we were talking about it. Was there a lot of action?
I didn't do the bungee, but we did the swing. So Prue and I did the swing together.
I did see that on your socials.
So that was still pretty full on. So the worst part is before you actually drop.
Yeah.
So they basically get you in your seat there, and they're like, all right, lift your legs up. And it's like, but I could die. I don't really want to die today. Anyway, so then they lift you up like 2 meters. It doesn't feel like that, but you see in the video, you're just like hanging. Yeah. And then they're like, all right, say hello to the camera over there. And you're like, yep.
Hello.
And then like on the harness above, they've got a camera up there, and they're like, all right, look up the camera there and say goodbye. And then they, just to say that before they say goodbye, they just fucking drop you.
And I'm guessing your stomach just disappears.
Yeah. It's like, Prue was screaming. I was like, fuck! 70 meters down, straight down.
Holy dooly.
And 300 meters long.
Wow. How's the adrenaline rush?
Well, that's the thing. I don't know if I've just killed my adrenaline source somehow, but I felt the exact same after it. I'm like, maybe I'm just like a junkie that needs something a bit more extreme.
Yeah, your adrenal gland is just it's just non-existent.
It was empty.
Yeah. I'd be feeling pumped after that. Mate, I was feeling pumped after pulling up a bloody snapper.
Yeah,
out near Double Island.
Mate, so what? You were nervous that you were going to get seasick?
Yeah. Well, I'd only been deep sea fishing once, right? And it was when I was a younger man, and it was quite a calm, glassy day, so it was absolutely fine. So yeah, I was a little bit nervous about getting seasick, Drifters, because we got a charter from Rainbow Beach, which, if you're not from Queensland, it's sort of around the Noosa area, sunny coast, about 2.5 or 3 hours north of Brizzy. And I bought some quells, which were effectively to sort of settle your stomach, and they sort of prevent nausea when you're traveling and when you're going fishing and shit like that.
Sure.
So I popped a couple of them before we went on. As we get there, though, 4 a.m. wake up to get to this charter by 5 a.m. The guy running the charter looks like a fisherman.
That's good sign.
He's got that skin that is between really, really tan and sunburnt. Yep. You know what I mean? Just a sort of reddy brown.
I typically only see them on the Noosa main beach.
Yeah, literally one of those types. Probably carrying an extra 20 or 30 kilos than what he needs to be. Mm-hmm. And I reckon if you really wanted to, you could probably smoke 4 durries at once. We're talking...
A man.
Yeah, he's a man.
Yeah.
Could probably catch a fish with his bare hand, but somehow still be in the boat. Okay. One of those types.
Yep.
We get there and he goes, gents, look, it's going to be about 20, 25 knots today.
Fuck.
The swell's not great. if you want to just hang around for a bit before we go out, that's absolutely fine. What do you reckon? And shout out to Chris O'Flynn. He's probably not a listener of the podcast because he's not a horse racing guy, but he's a big fishing guy. And he was probably, designated captain on our side for the weekend, and definitely was MVP for the weekend, by the way. He just looked at us and said, "Gents, what do you reckon?" And we just said, "Fuck it." We said, "Fuck it." And we were like, "We've come this far, let's just do it." Mate, 20 minutes later, rocking and rolling on the back of this boat. There was 8 of us. There was a few casualties, a few sick young men. I, luckily enough, drifters was not one of them. I brought me sea legs. I'm an able sea man. Caught some fish. We caught a stack between us, despite the conditions not being where we would have loved them to have been. We caught a stack of fish, ate them that night. It was, we saw some whales, dolphins. It was terrific, mate. Had a blast.
Sick. So what was your final tally?
I caught 7.
7?
I caught 7, yeah, but we only kept 3.
Okay.
I think Chris O'Flynn would have caught 15 or 16.
Yeah, shit.
And then would have kept 5 or 6. So definitely wasn't the highest catcher of fish. Definitely wasn't the lowest.
What would you weigh?
I contributed.
Well done.
I contributed. I didn't catch anything for the first 3 hours. It came over like a wet sail.
Yeah.
No, it was sick.
Awesome.
But yeah, any other highlights from NZ?
Played Jack's Point. That's the hat I'm currently wearing, drifters. This is what I want to ask you, right? It's a golf course. You might have seen my business update from there.
Yeah.
How much would you expect for someone to pay for a round of golf there? Now, this is hire of clubs, round with a cart. I had to buy balls, and thank God I bought a lot. Glove, and I also bought the cap.
Yeah, okay. Nice cap. So how much was it? Did you have to book ahead for you?
I booked the day before.
Okay, right.
Yep.
Oh, I'm not a golf guy, drifters. I'm going to say for all that stuff, $400.
Bang on.
Oh, who am I on this weekend? Wow.
$400.
I think that's a bit spenny, but it's probably fair enough.
Oh, for the experience, mate.
Yeah.
Worth every penny.
Yeah.
What got a bit hairy was I bought 8 balls, right? On the 10th hole, 10th tee, I had 2 balls left. I was like,
weren't hitting them as well as you could.
Well, the thing is I think I hit 3 pars on the first 9. It's just if you don't hit the fairway, you're not finding it.
Unforgiving.
Oh my God. It was the hardest links course I've ever played. So there's just shrub everywhere. And I was doing the old because there was a bit of a line up ahead. So in between hitting shots, I'd be like, all right, can I find some loose ones here? Couldn't find any. So I was stressing that I couldn't finish this round that I paid.
Imagine that $400 for.
Oh, fuck.
You were barely over halfway.
But finished it with 2 balls. 2 balls. So I got through the back 9, not losing any. But oh mate, it was sensational.
How good's that?
I FaceTimed Brad when I was there.
What are your thoughts on this?
Yeah, he's like, fuck off. He's like, you're not, are you? I was like, yeah, I am.
Oh,
So
that's mint.
He's probably planning a golf trip over in Queenstown as we speak. So
Yeah, wowee. It's just, you know what we are? We're just dudes doing stuff.
I know, mate.
Just a couple of blokes doing things.
It's been a big year, and it's by no means done. So you said before that we've seen Animo come and go. You know who's still doing the damn thing, but announced his retirement during the week was Damien Oliver.
The GOAT.
Mate, here's some stats for you, right?
Okay, hit me.
Over 8,400 starts as a jockey.
Shit.
Over 1,200 wins, striking at nearly 15%.
Mm-hmm.
Over 3,300 placings, striking at just under 40%. 128 Group 1 wins, 3 Melbourne Cups, 4 Caulfield Cups, 2 Cox Plates, and a Golden Slipper. So he's pretty much done it all.
Yeah.
When you think of Damien Oliver, how do you think you'll remember him?
Longevity, to your point. That many starts and just a name that's been synonymous with racing since I've gotten into it. And also the older generation as well, when he started riding in the 90s. So, if we were 18 in 1995, we would have been punting on Ollie. And fast forward almost 30 years later, and you're in your mid-40s, approaching 50, and you're still punting on Ollie. So longevity for me, mate. He's phenomenal. He hasn't been as good in the last few years, but, mate, he's 50.
Yeah, that's true.
What do you reckon?
I will remember him as like a grand final rider.
Yeah.
Like when he's in those big group ones, he could be on a $2 pop where you get a little bit nervous, but if he's on a $30 pop, you know he's going to give it an absolute peach and give it every single chance, well above its odds of true odds of winning. Mate, I was looking through. I was like, all right, what are the races that he really excels in? And for me, it comes back to those 3-year-old staying trips, the Oaks and the Derbies.
Mate, Cup Week, the Flemington Carnival owns it.
So 7 Victoria Oaks and 6 Victoria Derbies.
Bang.
Like with his most recent ones being Willowy and Miami Bound and, of course, Warning.
Warning, okay, yeah. Yeah, he owned Cup Week, mate.
So much so, they've actually renamed one of the races on Derby Day after him. So the Linlithgow Stakes will now be called the Damien Oliver.
Cool.
Like, of course.
Of course. Well
Makes
deserved.
sense, right?
Well deserved. Wow, that's such a record. And he'll be missed. Do you have a favourite ride of Ollie's?
Well, I have 3 that came to mind, right?
Mm.
Puzzle, after his brother Jason passed away, of course.
Yeah.
In the, I think it was 2002 Melbourne Cup.
Yep.
Selfishly, his most recent Group 1 win, Amakura, in the Queensland Oaks. That was just
Great ride.
Him knowing exactly how he's ridden in probably 100 Oaks over the journey.
Something ridiculous.
You know, like if not triple figures, he's in the 90s. You know what I mean? He just last on fanned out wide, and he just saved about 10 lengths up on the fence and gave it just the absolute peach, just an oldie special. But for me, for the occasion, mate, it has to be his ride on Warning on Derby Day, because we're at the track and we won the quaddie.
Go Warning. Go Warning. Joshua McClellan on board. Yeah, he willed it over the line. Probably was yelling at it.
Yeah.
Yeah, that was phenomenal. Mine would be, and big reason why I wore this hat, is on my guy Mo, the Caulfield Guineas in 2021, 2 years ago, mate, which is insane. Because I didn't have a lot of confidence. One, because he drew the car park. Two, because Ollie wasn't in the greatest of form when he had the ride on board Mo 2 years ago. And he would have gone out like a $2.20, $2.40 favourite still. But, mate, if you rewatch the Caulfield Guineas of 2021, comes out, he's back third of the field. We know Animo doesn't like that. But just gets him moving and gets him into the right part of the race at the right time and just let something truck him in. I think Capitalist.
Sure.
I think that trucked him in, peels out, just goes and just holds off at the end. And I was like, you know what? That's just an Ollie special. So that's definitely my favourite, because I'm a favourite horse. We'll miss you, Ollie. Well done.
So I think it was RaceNet or something had Ollie ranks his top 50 rides, and it's like, okay, he's not top 50 like Group 1 wins. And I'm like, he's not going to remember all those, right? But he had Animo in his top 10.
Did he?
Yeah. So obviously like the Melbourne Cups and Cox Plates, Caulfield Cups, Golden Slipper all before that, but then Animo snuck into the top 10 as well.
Can you remember his reasoning behind that?
No, he didn't give a summary on each of the top 50.
I was about to say, I was like, geez, that's a lot of work for Ollie.
Yeah, I know. But, well, we'll be seeing him on the screens of, Entain over the next year as well. So it'll be good to see.
Great to see.
Mate, we have a ton to get through here. So without further ado, let's get stuck into it. So Caulfield it'll be a good 4, good 3 on the day. Rel is in the true position. Let's start with the Memsie. 1,400 metre way for age. Cracking race.
Yeah, it is.
You have 3 of the Australia's probably top 10 horses in the field.
Yep.
What more can you ask for?
Nothing. Oh, all 10 of them, but yeah. but no, it's a fantastic race, I thought. It became a little bit trickier with some of the gates that were drawn by a couple of the favourites, but Yeah, what were your thoughts?
I think it's fantastic. So I kind of viewed it as Anavisto going forward with Alligator Blood from out wide and Bandersnatch. And Princess Grace, I think from about barrier 4, she might even just get the run of the race here. But I thought it was awfully hard to go past these favoured horses as being my on-top selections. But I'm keen to hear your thoughts before we get into it that far.
Yeah. Well, interesting when I first saw the gates, so I was like, yeah, you're hitting me. But I actually really like that Mr. Brightside's drawn outside of the blood. We know the blood will ping the gates. He's just got that really nice early gate speed, and he'll come across, like you said, with Anavisto. I think Mr. Brightside's just going to follow him across. Mr. Brightside's become such a smart horse. He's a tactically brilliant horse that Craig Williams knows him well enough to be able to stoke the fire a little bit, chase Alligator Blood across, and I would not be surprised if Mr. Brightside is 3 pairs back, 1 off the fence with some cover. I know it looks like a sticky gate, but if you look at what's drawn inside of him, I think he's got the leg speed to be able to get across. So I'm not overly concerned with the gate. I made the point to you post the Winx Stakes that if Mr. Brightside was in that field against the same horses, he would have won. And I stand by that, and I think for that reason, he's got to be my top selection here. I love that he's already had the run at 1,400 metres, albeit a testing high-tempo run. I think he's probably going to get something similar here with some early speed. He's probably got a bit of a fitness edge on some of these, even though apparently Alligator Blood's been fully wound up for this. 1,400 metres is Alligator Blood's probably pet trip, to be honest. But I think Mr. Brightside's started to go above him in the pecking order, and I think he's established that after his PB Lawrence run. So Mr. Brightside's my on-top selection in the race, but I am absolutely fascinated by I Wish I Win here. Fascinated. Peter Moody, Catherine Coleman, joint trainers now. Peter Moody's proven in the past that he has some unconventional ideas when it comes to training. And starting I Wish I Win off here over 1,400 metres, having a 6-week break, probably a bit of a tune-up in between there, and targeting the Everest is probably his grand final, obviously. Over 1,200 metres is unique. But he's done something similar before with a mare called Black Caviar.
Heard of her.
Yeah, who did something similar. She started off in maybe the CF4 over 1,400 metres, and then her grand final was something else over 1,200, a few weeks later. So he knows what he's doing. Would I have done this? I don't know. I'm not a fucking trainer. but it is a bit unconventional. Don't like the gate for him, though. Yeah, don't like that. Yeah. So that's my thoughts. There's a couple others that I don't mind, but whose way are you leaning?
Whenever I see a big dog, like a big thoroughbred, draw barrier 1, I just know all of those heads are going to be turning left and going like, you know what, champ, you're not getting out.
Yeah.
Now, have I gone, you know what, I'll use that logic to say that this thing can't win? Absolutely not.
No.
Mate, how many horses would Luke Nolan have ridden? Thousands, right?
A few of them, yeah.
When he says that this thing's the second best behind Black Caviar, I'm listening.
Yeah.
Like, what he did in the Lightning first up last prep was unbelievable. Like, I've never seen a horse finish off like that. It was like Chautauqua-like.
It was.
I think he's proven when he has these big layoffs or these gaps between runs, even in the Golden Eagle last year, I think he was 4 or 5, 6 weeks between runs, and then he goes out and wins that. I think he's just an absolute bomb fresh. Love the 1,400 metres for him because he could potentially be a miler.
Yeah, he could be.
This horse could be anything. I'm just going to back my judgment that he's the best horse in the race. So in terms of my strategy, if he gets out, he could just be,
blown away.
Yeah, exactly. But Mr. Brightside, Alligator Blood, obviously the next classiest 2 horses in the field. I've been against Alligator Blood basically his whole career. So why would I jump on now? I jumped on in the All-Star Mile and had egg all over my face. But barrier 14 for him isn't easy. I think it does make it easier that I Wish I Win's drawn inside. I think he might be the forgotten horse out there. I agree with Mr. Brightside. I think that actually he'll just tail him in, and if he gets in a 3 wide lane behind Alligator Blood. That's perfect for him.
Mm.
But the horse that I think does get the run of the race is Princess Grace. I think she was super last run in the Winks in the inferior ground. And she likes being on top of the ground as well. So Blake Shin is a terrific booking. I think she can. I think if they overdo it, she might just be the one stalking and be, they have that match fitness as well. So I prefer to take $8 on her than say the $3 to $4 with Mr. Brightside. That's just the way I'm playing it. So in terms of a strategy, $75 on I Wish I Win, and then 25 on Princess Grace.
Yeah, lovely. I've got a little theory about I Wish I Win, and it's from a very small sample size. Drifters. He was an absolute freak in the Lightning first up. You're 100% right, and he could be just an absolute bomb fresh. I think he might be a horse that likes going clockwise a lot more than he likes going anti-clockwise, because you look at his two biggest peak runs, Golden Eagle, TJ Smith. Not to say that he can't win this and be just as effective the other way around, but from what I've seen so far, maybe when he gets on the other leg, he just grows another couple lengths. But here's another couple of lengths. It's like world beating. So got a little theory about him. So let's see how he goes in the Everest, because even if he's like a little bit flat here, I reckon he could bounce back there. But anyway, the other two horses I wanted to highlight were Anavisto, bomb fresh, 1,400 metres. Done it before, not on this grade, but I still think for her, $12 with the good people at Ned's is a good price. And also Panko, I thought he was really good in the Wink Stakes. I would have loved to have seen him go to the mile though, as opposed to staying at the 1,400 metres. So happy to risk him. But betting strategy, I'm going to go with $80 on Mr. Brightside to win, and then I'm just going to have $20 on Anavisto because she's one of mine. This could be her last race.
Yeah, and Anavisto for me, I did look at her, but she's one She has these massive layoffs because I think she's so wound up first up. It's like, all right, let's just set her for her targets first up, which, that's good for her and good for the connections. Did it against the girls.
Yeah,
last two times.
Different gravy here.
Way different gravy, but, could be leaderish on the day. She'll be up there doing it the hard way. You'll have a run for your money at least.
Mm-hmm.
So let's go through the rest of the card at Caulfield then. So race 5 is the McNeil, the wheat-gutted dog stakes. Over 1,200 metres, Setways penalties. I thought at Caulfield, there was a few line-in-the-sand races this weekend. I thought it was a really fascinating card, and I think this is one of them.
Yep.
Are the up-and-coming 3-year-olds better than the tried-and-true 2-year-olds of last season?
Yeah, it's a fantastic point that you make, and there's a lot of 4-year-olds who transitioned from 3-year-olds running this weekend who go to wait for age. So, yeah, interesting this race. Little Bro's failed, I think, last start. Do you forgive him? Don't know. Barber has fantastic 2-year-old form, but again, is he a horse who makes a transition to a 3-year-old?
You can only judge from what he's done this prep in his trials, and they've been pretty underwhelming.
They have been. V8 was a horse that both of us were really keen on in the size produce. He ran 4th there. Didn't like the heavy 9, so I thought he went really well considering the deck. Gets a dry deck here, draws really well. D-Lane on board, $7.50 with the good people at Ned's. I think he's a terrific bet. He'll be my bet in this race. Also wary of the Moody horse, the Moody and Coleman horse down the bottom, number 12, Legacies. She won a listed race on Anzac Day, though, and she's a filly going up against the boys. So I'm not going to dive into the $5.50 with her, but jumping off Little Bros could be at my own peril, but maybe he's just a good 2-year-old, and the Blue Diamond curse is affecting him as well. V8 on top for me.
Yep. I'm going with one of the new brigade as well. Number 11, Hedged. Only broke his maiden last start, but did a ton of work during it. So he was about 5 or 6 wide on speed, and he still won by 4.5. Pretty impressive stuff. I think there's been a couple of winners out of the race as well. Softer draw here. I reckon he can just sit behind the speed and show how good he actually is in this grade, and we'll have a better understanding of him. $8.50 at the moment. I'm happy to bet at that price. Race 6 is the Heatherly Handicap, 1,700 metres listed race. I found this pretty difficult because he's a shocker wants further. Emissary ran a place in the Melbourne Cup. Shiraz wants further. Solcombe wants further. Dackman Sweet Jr. wants further. So Luke, and they go on and on and on. So, did you find anything that's wound up for the 1,700?
Not at all, mate. Yeah, I completely agree with you. And Solcombe has been battling to get out of the gates in his trials. If you've been keeping an eye on them, drifters. So there's some concerns there. This can't be a betting race for me. There's just too many things that want further. If you're going to have a play drifters, you probably want something that's second or third up. And that's Jimmy the Bear, who's God knows how many races he's had this prep. Pulled me pants down the other week when I backed Barclay Square against him, or the Summit. But I can't bet in this race.
What about Junior Powell? He hasn't won for 3 years.
Yeah. When did I back him? I backed him in a handicap mile race, I'm pretty sure. Group 1.
Yeah. He's that type of horse.
He's that type of horse.
He's older now, much older. But he did have about a year off. And this prep, he hasn't been too bad. So I think the 1,700 could just be about the Goldilocks zone for him.
Yeah.
Last start, he only just missed the Summit. And he beat Home Interpretation, who ran well at the Valley last week as well. So I think he could be the pony. And if I find one that hasn't won for 3 years, then credit to me.
You're doing well.
Yeah, $11. Why not have something tiny on him? Now this is a fascinating race, the Cochrane. So 1,200 meters, Group 3 for the mares, set weights, penalties. Parasol was sensational in Sydney last start. She proved me wrong, that's for sure. 1,200 meters, can she run it out? And then you have Benedetta here as well. She's yet to prove it in this grade, but she wasn't overly convincing, but it was still a very nice win last start.
Definitely wasn't fully wound up last start. And I feel like it was just professional enough to get the job done. So yeah, it's a race in 2 for mine. I know there's a couple others in the market, but they're the ones you want to be with. I thought Parasol was brilliant last start, beating home the likes of Zoo Gotcha, who failed at the sprinting trip, you could say. Wheels were just spinning a bit. Maybe she's matured enough that the 1,200 metres isn't an issue anymore. But I'm prepared to take her on, and if she proves me wrong, fair enough. Benedetta's been one of mine since, early days. Jason Warren said she'd be way more wound up for this, so Benedetta's the one for me. $2.80 with the good people at Neds. I like her.
What are your thoughts on Cest Magique?
Yeah, that's the one I was talking about when there's another in the market who I'm just going to avoid. I still think it's a race in 2. I think it's a good horse. Ran second in Secret in the Coolmore.
Yes.
Yeah. So, but again, prepared to take on. She hasn't been racing for a while.
Yeah, exactly. She hasn't raced since. So
yeah,
I fully expect her to drift on the day. I don't know who they're going to come for. No idea. But I am siding with you as well. I'm a believer in Benedetta. She's been sensational so far. Parasol, 1,200. Trusting my gut that she doesn't run it as strongly as the 1,000 or 1,100. So that's a fascinating race. The Heath over the 1,100 is also fascinating, and the girls are versing the boys here. Now, Kalos is a different horse from last prep. Asfura, she basically had 3 runs at Group 1 level and was only beaten 1.5 lengths at most. Surely she's your pony, Asfura.
She is, yeah. She's my pony, and she was for nearly every start last prep. 1,100 metres she's one of those horses where 1,200 might be a little bit stretched too far for her. 1,100 is right in her wheelhouse. Henry Dwyer, the trainer, has been saying that she's come of age since she was travelling all over the country. Wants to keep her in Victoria for this prep and try and jag a couple of black type wins. Doesn't need to be Group 1s, he said. He's like, if this mare can, jag Group 2, Group 3, perfect. Should be worth a Monster, which I agree with. Sprinting mare with some black type. She's my on top selection, but gee whiz, there's some talent in this race. Magic Time, one of yours. Another terrific race. Group 3 on the weekend.
Yeah, I think I'm on side girls here for sure. I think Asfura is not treated that well at the weights. She's virtually got the top weight here. So with the mare's allowance, she would have, if she was a gelding or a colt or whatever, she'd have 59. So she is right up the top end, but she does have the talent and the runs on the board. Magic Time, I think, is a serious horse. I think she has a lot of talent, and she's, she was 1 from 1 in her spring prep. I think she just went one run a bit too far in her autumn campaign, or she didn't quite come through that heavy track. So her trials have suggested to me that she's, she knows how to do it. She's still extremely versatile. She can take a sit just off the pace. She can lead if she needs. Barrier 12 is a bit sticky, but I'm a believer in her. I think she's quite a talent. And for $7, I'm more than willing to find out in this grade. If she's as good as I think she is, she needs to go either being running first or second there. The Memsie we've covered off, I think that is Caulfield, done and dusted.
Yes. I'll give you a quick tip in the last load, Drifters. Devoted.
You hear that?
Yeah. Devoted in the last.
Race 5 at Royal Randwick. So at Randwick, I think the rail is out 4 metres. It's currently a soft 6, but there is drying weather on the way. I think we'll get to a good 4. So race 5 on the day is the City Tats Cup, 2,400 metres listed race. I thought there was a couple of here that I could have a bit of a spec at, maybe have a Ned's same race multi, and that's number 2, Fancy Man, who was pretty decent racing on speed, where he wasn't in the A1 ground either. Didn't fade too badly. I think he only lost by 1 or 2 lengths there. But the one I'm keen on is Serpentine.
Yeah, absolutely. The Brad Weston special.
Yeah.
He'll ping the gates here. He'll lead. And we saw in the Winter Carnival that he's now with the right stable.
Yeah.
So, he's the one for me in this race, $6.50, the good people at Ned's. If he starts to come in on the day, back with confidence.
Yes, agreed. Because we've learnt that if they drift in Sydney, don't touch them. Race 6, the Furious Stakes, 1,200 metres for Group 2 for the fillies. I thought this was a fascinating contest as well. You have Tis Invincible, who beat the boys last start, breaking her maiden. Autumn Ballet was sensational. And you also have Kai Mochi.
Yeah, this is, it's a fascinating race. Tough race. I'm a fan of Kimochi, your thing. I'm a fan of Tis Invincible and Autumn Ballet as well. So it's a tough race. It's a tough race for me to bet on. I'm also keen on Cigar Flick, who I backed last start, ran 4th behind Tis Invincible, but she didn't get going until a bit too late over 1,100 metres. 1,200 metres here, but I think she might be wanting a little bit further even, Cigar Flick. So see how she goes. There's one here at odds, Drifters, that if you're a guy who likes a bit of juice, which I know you are if you're listening to this podcast, it's been scratched for its last couple races. It's been named a couple times and hasn't actually taken the field. That's number 10, Hell Queen, $81 with the good people at Ned's. I saw some stuff from her in the autumn, which makes me think that she's a horse with a bit of talent. Now, look, she's $81 for a reason, because she's going up against some smart fillies, but because it's a tough race, I'll probably end up having just a little spec on her at $81 with good people at Ned's. Out of a small stable. See what happens.
Shit. You don't usually do that.
No.
Love that. Love that a lot. So chuck it in your quaddie.
Yes.
Worst case scenario, you know what I mean?
It's not a quaddie leg. Chuck it in your Ned's, same race multi to finish top 4.
Chuck it in your early quaddie.
Chuck it in your early quaddie, Drifters. Fucking hell.
There's options. Kai Mochi for me. I'm a believer. I think she's quite smart. Back on top of the ground, I think is the key to her as well. Do wish this was at, a little bit further, 1,400. I think she'll eat that up, yum yum. But Gary Portelli, Jason Collette, proven combination. I think they can get the job done there. Now, the Concord.
Gee whiz.
So talk about line in the sand. Nature Strip. Do you back Nature Strip at $3.20?
No.
You think he's done?
I don't think you can back him in this and be confident at $3.20. Not that he's necessarily done, but we just didn't see from him last prep that he's anywhere near as good as what he can be. And I think even if he's come back even slightly better than what he was last prep, I still think there's a couple here that can beat him. We've seen it with Eduardo, we've seen it with Zaki. When these horses get to that age, like, unfortunately, they're just not as good as what they were. And Nature Strip, his trials haven't been that great. They've been okay. Usually trials pretty well. Like, like wins his trials, like comfortably.
He looks like, a bodybuilder walking through a gym, just like strutting around.
100%. Like I'm the king.
Yeah. He didn't have that aura. I guess.
He looks a bit keen.
Yeah.
Maybe his first one or his second one. I'm happy to take him on here. And no disrespect at all. Obviously, everyone knows that I'm a big Strip fan. But then I look at a horse like In Secret, and 1,200 metres is her jam. And she's also falls into that 4-year-old mare category where they can sometimes, with the jump up in weight, might take them a prep or two to sort of, fill out a bit more and be up there with the big boys. Obviously, she's got stacks of talent. She could win this over 1,000 metres. So, yeah, she's in the market. I like Zapateo in this. Stalked him. Pounce. Also like Remark in this. Fresh up as a 5-year-old now. Yes, he's a length or two behind these, but again, goes from that 4-year-old to 5-year-old. Maybe it's what he needs. So, it's a fascinating weekend because there's a lot of horses where I'm like, I will know a lot more post this race. But I'm not diving into the $3.20 with Nature Strip. Eduardo at $4.80. Yuck. In Secret at $3.30. Like, if you're going to back a shorty, that's the one I'm backing. Bella Nipotina at 9s. Like, happy to risk. So help me out.
There's two that you mentioned there. So Nature Strip, I'm not convinced the king is done yet. So I think if I'm going to have a bet in the race, I think it would be him. I think I'm just going to sit and watch this one. But Zapateo for me, she has had some really smart trials. Really like what she's been doing. Now,
5-year-old mare, not a 4-year-old anymore.
Yes, and first up, last couple of preps, she's just blew them away. You know what I mean? So, will run extremely well. I think in the Oakley Plate, she just got way too far back. In that field was strung out about 30 lengths. But in her spring preparation, I think she won by probably close to 3. So I think she's the one that could potentially take that step up. It's a huge step though, because, she was running against pretty much her own sex for a lot of it. Like she ran in the Sangster, the Goodwood, where, the mares and the fillies kind of dominated that race as well. And then the Sapphire as well. So this is a big step up for her, but I think she's the one that could potentially go to that next step.
So Godolphin's obviously got a slot in the Everest. In Secret would have to be their number 1 seed right now. If Zapateo knocks her off here, does In Secret still retain number 1 seed?
Yes, mate. It's 1,000 metres.
Yes.
Yeah. What Godolphin would be hoping is that, like, Zapateo absolutely blows them to shreds, and then, like, the ATC or something picks her up or something. You know what I mean?
Turn the race.
Yeah.
Yeah. I agree. Like, In Secret 1,200 metres is different to In Secret 1,000 metres.
Yeah. Yeah. Well,
it's just an interesting thing to think
about.
It is.
We haven't seen In Secret over the 1,000. She might be an absolute freak.
She could be.
But the king, I don't think the king's done. The Chelmsford over the mile, Group 2, Wait for Age. I have a really nice, sensational, juicy bet here.
Okay. Tell me about it.
Number 7, Linda Mann. Dylan Gibbons on board for Waller. Nothing went right for him in the Winks. He was coughing after the race. He had a packet of smokes during the run. it wasn't his day. He rocks up here after some sensational trials as well. I think he'll lead in a race where, you know, there's some resuming stayers here, the likes of Knight's Order, Huyal Mal. I think he'll be up there in front of the likes of, say, Think About It. Oh, knew that was going to come.
Think it over.
Think it over. And I think he'll be mighty hard to run past, actually. So Lindemann to turn it around. Good track is really important for him as well. I don't think he likes the soft ground.
No, that's a good bet. I'm stuck between two horses here, Drifters. I thought Think It Over was terrific in his return. Runs out of room that last 100 metres. He's a fighter. Draws super well here. That's the most important thing. He'll draw to be in the first third. If he gets the gaps, he could put this field away. Mile to 2,000 metres is his sweet spot. The other one's My Girl Jewis. I thought she came home terrifically in the Wing Stakes. 1,600 metres still isn't her jam. She's looking for 2,000. But with a slashing run here at $9 with the good people at Ned's.
At this time of her prep, she is looking for the mile. Like 2,000 metres would find
She's
her
looking
out.
for a mile here, yeah.
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 Like so, but she shows her best over the 2,000, you know what I mean? But
Yeah.
like with Think It Over, I'm really keen to take him on. If he wins, I'll be, you know, like he'd be in my quaddie. But for him, long layoff, you often see these horses have a absolute gut buster first up and they go like, oh, back me written all over them, and then they're a bit flat.
No, you are right.
I think happy to risk him. Maybe, quaddie for insurance, you know what I mean?
You know what I mean.
Last race we'll touch on is the Tramway in race 9, Group 2 for 1,400 metres. I thought this was potentially the best bet of the day.
Yeah, she's already been crunched too. Number 16, Alentia. I think she would have opened over 3 into $2.35 with the good people at Ned's. Yeah, geez, what's under the hood? Show me. Yeah, Alentia's on top for me. But there's also my guy, Pericles, in this race. I think Pericles will run super well here, and then he will go to an Epsom with a nice weight, and that'll be his grand final. I think he'll run into the top 3, but geez, what's Alentia got under the hood? There's a few other interesting ones here at odds. Hope in Your Heart, Madame Pommery, who ran super well first up next to Pericles. My Oberon, who ran second in a Doncaster behind Mr. Brightside, maybe wants a heavy deck. Yeah, gee whiz, good luck putting a quaddie on this weekend, Drifters. But Alentia's got to be the one for me.
Yeah, I agree. I'm a believer. I think she's pretty bomb-proof. I think she's pretty special. Hope in Your Heart obviously has a nice place in my heart, but I think you need the cut out of the ground to see her best as well. So I think she's more of an autumn mare for me moving forward. Madame Pommery, as you mentioned, she was really, really nice first up as well, but no jockey booking as of yet, so she might not even take place here. And I thought the best roughie in the race was Going Global, this international mare. So I only had the one run in the Doncaster, was beaten a shitload by 13 lengths, but she was racing on firm tracks, I think back in America?
Yeah, she's American.
Yeah, Group 1 winning mare as well. So if they get a good track here, J-Mac on board, so could potentially be like could be the top Waller seed for those a bit higher in the weights for J-Mac to ride. Why not? I'll have a little something on Going Global outside of Alentia, but Alentia is my best bet of the day for sure. Mate, that's about it.
Yeah.
God damn.
Mate, terrific. Like only one Group 1, but there is some terrific racing on this weekend.
Yeah. Line in the sand sort of stuff.
As we start heating up to the spring, do you know what I saw during the week? And you probably saw it too. Albo, what's he doing to us? What's he doing to the people of Australia? So he's put the referendum date on the 14th of October. Everest, King Charles Stakes, Caulfield Guineas, Toorak Handicap, Might and Power. Albo, what are you doing to us, mate? Like we're going to be punting. We're not going to have time to get away and vote in a referendum.
Honestly, mate, they lose track. Like, surely one of the biggest pieces of income that those bastards see is from punting and from punters. Look
Yeah.
after us.
Yeah, look after us.
For fuck's sake.
We want to have a free schedule. We want to have a schedule completely free so we can go down to the pub.
On one of the best. How many? Everest Day is sold out.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? That's just going to ruin plans for everyone.
Yeah.
Can you vote early?
Ooh, if you can do an early vote, then not all is forgiven, but that's what I'll be doing for sure.
Yeah. Slap on the bum. For
Come on,
you,
Al.
Albo.
Come on, Alba.
Come on, man. That's all she wrote. We'll be back on Sunday doing our review show because there'll be plenty going on there. But that's about it, mate.
Good luck this weekend, Drifters.
Cheerio.